Hi everyone, welcome to our lecture on short form adjectives. Today we'll be covering the materials in our textbook from pages 263 to 264. This will be a short lecture because it's a pretty short, easy topic. Actually it's not easy, but what you need to learn today is easy enough. And the textbook gives a pretty comprehensive overview of what you need to know at the moment. The type of adjectives that you're most familiar with are длинные прилагательные, or long-form adjectives. And those are the ones that end in и краткое in the masculine nominative, ая in the feminine, and оя in the neuter. They always have at least two letters in the ending. So, for example, и, ая, оя, ия in the nominative, or ой and omu in the dative, and so on and so forth. Those are the ones that you've been memorizing for the past couple of years. They always agree with the noun that they modify in gender, case, and number, just like you've been learning. So to go back to our weather vocabulary that we learned in the last lecture, we can see the use of long-form adjectives in phrases such as «Сегодня холодная погода», where холодная, notice that it has that ая, that two-letter, two-syllable ending, agrees with погода. They're both feminine, they're both nominative, they're both singular. You can also have phrases like «Я люблю жаркую погоду». I love hot weather. And again, жаркую, it's long, it has two letters, and it agrees with погоду. They're both feminine, they're both accusative, they're both singular. Or we can say something like «Это все из-за плохой погоды». This is all because of the bad weather. And again, we see here how погоды is genitive and плохой is also genitive. And it has that long form. It has the о и краткое, the two-letter ending. So a long form adjective is always going to have at least two, sometimes three letters in the ending. And long form adjectives, as you can see from these examples, can be in any case. They can be the subject, they can be the object, and they can be in any case. So they're very flexible. And they're the most common form for adjectives, and that's why we've been working on them so much for the past 2 years. However, Russian also has short-form adjectives, or краткие прилагательные. And you've already seen them in things like нужен, нужна. If you remember our phrase, ему не нужна американская жена, he doesn't need an American wife. Нужен, нужна, нужно, нужны is a short-form adjective. We also know it from the phrase or the word должен, должен, должна, as in он должен это сделать, она должна это сделать. So we've seen these short-form adjectives floating around for a while. Short-form adjectives are called short-form adjectives because they have short endings. So they are only going to have one letter and one syllable in the ending at the most. For the masculine, they're not going to have anything, so должен, нужен, согласен, so on and so forth. And note that you may have a fleeting vowel pop in, though, as in должен, нужен, согласен. For the feminine, they're going to end in а, and they are frequently but not always stressed on that а, so должна, нужна, согласна. Neuter is going to be о, that may or may not be stressed, so должно, as in это должно быть, нужно or согласна, and so on and so forth. And plural is going to have «ы», just a single «ы». Нужны, согласны, должны, etc., etc. Like long-form adjectives, they agree with their noun in gender and number. They also agree with their noun in case, but they can only be in the nominative. They are only used for the predicate when we say that something is something, and that means that they can only be nominative because the predicate can only be nominative. So you can say things like он болен with the short form adjective, he is sick, versus он больной человек with the long form adjective, he is a sick person. If you look at the tables on pages 263, 264, they give a list of the most commonly used short-form adjectives. So I recommend memorizing those adjectives. Most adjectives are not going to be used commonly in the short form. Almost any adjective can be short form, but most of them are very rarely used in the short form. But there are a few that are used commonly in the short form or that are only used in the short form, and the tables on those pages give the lists of them.